Hi there, I'm Rochelle Morgan from Show Me Hope and Tri-County Mental Health. And we're here to help all of us get through this pandemic together and to find our resilience and to those coping skills and the things that we need to get through the pandemic. Today, I have with me Christine Barr. She's a licensed clinical social worker with Tri-County Mental Health. And for the last 5 or so years, she's been working in the area of prenatal and postnatal mental health. And so her expertise is in helping expectant mothers, new parents to face the mental health challenges that might come up during any pregnancy, but especially now during COVID. So Christine has some tips for the prenatal period when you're expecting a baby, on how to deal with this pandemic. So Christine, what are your best tips?
One of the tips that I might have would be to advocate for yourself and for your baby. I think this is a really difficult time for us all to be navigating together. And it's an important time to be asking questions because there is a level of fear and uncertainty kind of across the board. I would ask for education directly from your providers. I would ask for that guidance directly, maybe suggestions, recommendations. I think it's very important to verbalize if you have a need for increased support. That's another tip that I have. So you may be kind of struggling in a variety of areas by different stressors, whether that's you're noticing some symptom development, negative mental health symptom development, or perhaps that's worsening for you. Just having that open and honest conversation to discuss what's going on and also to see what resources could be offered for you could be very beneficial. And again, it does go back to advocating for yourself and your needs in your pregnancy. I think it's important to, as a tip, to identify your triggers right now. I think some of our triggers have changed quite a bit. The things that we were triggered by before, maybe we're more triggered by, less triggered by. We have new triggers. And then also to come up with a way to combat that with a solid plan to cope and take care of yourself. So with a trigger comes a plan of action, so to speak, on how we want to cope with that. I think another tip would be just an open and honest dialogue with your healthcare provider and too with your partner, whomever your support system is. To be open and honest about the things that you're experiencing, the things that are going on with you, what you're worried about, what you're excited about. All dialogue is really, really important. And I think we're living in a time of more isolation. So I think that that's a difficult one right now, just because we lose sight of that. So just because we're maybe the proximity of our lives have changed and our environments have changed, there's still plenty of opportunity for having open dialogue with our loved ones and letting them know and reaching out. I think too, another tip, just consider your own flexibility with things and expectations that you have for yourself. Sometimes I think it's important to reevaluate what are the norms, especially in this time that we're living in. What are some of the things that I was rigid about before that maybe I might consider being more flexible? How might I maybe give myself a little bit more grace per se? I think one way to put that is what is for post-traumatic growth instead of post-traumatic stress. This is a stressful time that we're living in, but what are some opportunities for growth? How can we reframe that? How can we think differently about that? How are we adapting? How are we resilient? How can that look differently for us? So I think that just, again, open communication, advocacy, reevaluating, what our own expectations are, because some of those things we don't have control over. And lastly, one helpful tip is to try to be mindful of the things in these situations that we do and do not have control over. There are certain things, unfortunately, that we don't have control over, such as not being able to have more than one support person in your delivery room. So have control over, however, is, maybe you can have that one support person Zoom in 5 people right after you deliver. There are some opportunities for adaptation. And, I think although it's very hard, we're all in that together.
Great. Yes, those are all really wonderful tips. So thank you so much for sharing that. And I hope that that'll be helpful for you as an expectant mother, in coping with this pandemic. Now, if you do need more support, Show Me Hope is here for you. There's a disaster distress hotline that you can call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can send a text message and connect with a crisis counselor who will help you to figure out some ways to deal with all of the stress that's going on. We can help you figure out coping skills. We can help you figure out social support things. And if you need even more mental health treatment, we can help you find those resources as well. So if you need some more support, crisis counseling is free. It's confidential. All you have to do is call. So the number's below this video in the description box, or it's on the last slide here on this video as well. So hang in there. This is an exciting time and a really strange time in our world. We're all in this together, and we're going to get through it one way or another. So we're here to support you, and we look forward to seeing you in another video. So come back to our YouTube channel and find other ways to get through this pandemic as a community. We'll see you again.